You're muted. No one can hear you, apparently. They can hear. I can hear myself.
I am also yokai.
Yes, and
I is Daggerson.
New overlay. Leave me alone. New overlay.
Bully him! Bully him!
I guess I'll.
All right, but now they should hear me. All right. I'm noticing a couple little issues, so I'm fixing them right away. But yeah. I think I know what Yoni wants to talk about.
It's the obvious thing to talk about.
This is...
Said we talk about it last stream.
You said. But okay, I guess you start the topic and I fix the overlay.
We got... So, like, the thing everybody's been making content for, everyone's been talking about, is the last live stream where they showed off character customization. And it looks great. It looks great. I feel wonderful with it because I feel like with this, like it has level of custom. So we've been talking about it quite a bit. We talked about it like a couple live streams ago with like the level of what it means to be on par with BDO character customization. That's that statement alone. And I feel like it has that. You can be on that level of customization. People are worried with the sculpting tool and all kinds of stuff. You're gonna have weird, wonky characters that are not gonna be what's the word I'm looking for?
Immersive or break immersion.
Yes, they're like everyone's gonna make a bunch of characters that are gonna break immersion. And you're 100% right. You are gonna people are gonna be able to make characters that are gonna break immersion, but I think
how okay. Just let me ask you this: how are you getting that from what we see?
With the sculpting tool. With the sculpting tool alone, you can make really weird and wonky characters. Like you can change them. You can like with the sliders, you can change them on a bunch of the faces. Like how the faces are shaped and everything. And I'm gonna say this, and BCG is gonna hate me for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking hate you for it.
You can make a fucking loli dwarf.
You can fucking not.
You 100% can.
You can fucking not. I'm gonna stick with that. You won't be able to make a lolly in the sense of a real lolly.
You can make a lineage 2. At the very least, you can make a lineage 2 or an Archage Unchained or an Archage dwarf, which those are both loli dwarves.
I mean, when you say lolly, right? I have a certain image. Okay, I'm not super versed in anime lingo and what is what, and I'm not gonna lie about that. But if you say lolly, right? The first thing that pops into my head is a little girl.
Yep.
So, and the guy that makes the game, has the term even banned on his Discord. So I would just assume, based on that you're not going to be able to do that.
It won't even be up to him. Because like at the base state, you won't be able to do it. Like the base state, you won't be able to do it. So you're gonna have dwarves. Here's how it's gonna go down. And I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell everybody this. Here's how it's gonna go down. You're gonna have your dwarves. You pick a female dwarf. You sculpt it to be slimmer. You slim it down. You slim it with the sculpting tool alone. If you can slim it down and mess with the face in any way, shape, or form, you can 100% make it look like a little girl. That sculpting tool allows you to sculpt every part of that body and slim it down. I
believe it when I see it.
I'm gonna do it. Everyone has been telling me for years now that it is impossible. When that character creator comes out and they start popping out competitions, I will be making every character that everyone has ever said that I cannot do, along with some other ones like Colonel Sanders and shit like that.
I still
100%.
I still say no, it's not gonna happen. It's
Why do you say that? How do you not think
okay?
with
Let me put it
sculpting
this way.
tool-
Let me put it this way again. Let me put it this way. This is my whole argument. If the guy doesn't want the thing in his game so much that he bans the term on his Discord, and now you can turn around and still make something that represents a lolly, then I also believe that at some point we're gonna have pay to win. That's how strong I believe that
That's
this is
a
going to happen.
very large leap. That's a very large leap.
Not for
Yeah,
me.
we're talking about something that is like directly enabled versus something that's enabled because as a byproduct of just the freedom of a tool.
The tool like it's not like Steven is making the dwarves themselves lolly dwarves. He's making them base like base dwarves that everyone loves and loves, like actual fantasy dwarves. Like they're like the dwarves themselves are not lolly dwarves, but with the freedom that the character creator and the sculpting tool give the player can make basically like any kind of weird wonky characters that their hearts can desire. And so you will 100% see immersion breaking characters that are ugly as sin, cool looking as hell, or anywhere in between. And you will 100% with that sculpting tool. And I'm using this term. And whenever, because I say lolly dwarf, everyone focuses on the fact that I'm saying lolly dwarf and thinks like, oh, yokai wants fucking weeb shit in the game. I'm saying this lolly dwarf as an example.
I believe we will have weird looking characters. I believe that. I believe we will have things that are a little bit immersion breaking. But turning the models that we have seen for the dwarves into what you are describing is for me such a long reach. Like I said,
why though? Why is it a long reach?
Because
if you think people can make weird and wonky characters, why is slimming down a character and changing the face to look younger, or more, or sculpting it into a more rectangular, not triangular shape like my own character, like my own self right now? How do you think like you won't be able to get at least a lineage 2?
I never played Lineage, so I cannot make that reference. Like I said, when you say lolly, I have a certain image in my head because I'm not that well versed when it comes to anime stuff.
The Lineage 2 dwarves were definitely lolly. Lolly dwarves. Archage dwarves were definitely like the female ones were definitely lolly dwarves. I imagine like you just make you don't give a dwarf a beard, and if you're into it, you can make a fucking little boy dwarf as well. You won't be like if their size. So the reason I'm using the dwarves as an example right here is because like he's explained that like you can alter characters within reason. You can't make a short ass fucking like dwarf size orc, and so like you can't scale a human down to that size. But if you can take the dwarf, but like the dwarf is already in that size bracket, which is why like you have the whole lolly thing with the dwarves in a lot of games.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to tell you. Like I don't see it. I don't think it's gonna have. Just they want more of the Tolkien kind of dwarves, and I don't see the character creator being so free to that extent that you can turn a Tolkien type of dwarf into what you're describing.
They made Asmongold in the game, and
they made a human-looking character model into a human. What you're describing is turning a dog into a cat.
Not really.
Oh, I guess we're not gonna agree on it. Like I said, hey, listen, I told you, if it happens, I will give you $50. I will give you $50 if this really happened. But I just have
okay. It's been said here.
It's been said. I will give Yoni 50.
We don't know if it's possible.
All right. But I don't like. We have to kind of first agree on what is a lolly because I didn't play Lineage 2, and when I hear lolly, I think little anime girl with eyes that are bigger than a plate.
Dackerson, what is your opinion on the character creator? You haven't talked about it much.
Well, I mean, as I said, they're able to control the ranges. So while I agree that there's the location, like they have. I guess I don't know how much the customization will be limited for dwarves. Like, how small will you actually be able to get the nose on a dwarf, and stuff like that. So I guess high level. Sorry, I'm really happy with the the character creator. It was one of those things I thought that was kind of going to quietly go away, and we actually have the character creator that was promised in the beginning. So that's pretty sweet. I'm not sure how but that said, I'm not sure how they're going to limit certain customization and how that will impact the creation of a lolly dwarf.
And like I said, I'm using that as an extreme, but I 100% see you being able to do it. If you can make weird, wonky characters to the extreme that I think you can, like to like the extreme that the tool seems that it would allow, and to the degree that they're saying they want, if they want a BDO level of character customization, that level of character customization makes a lot of people happy, but it also pisses a lot of people off. Like, you make that immersion breaking character, you make those people make those immersion breaking characters, and some people like it, some people don't. And you're gonna probably get those lolly dwarves that BCG so dreads.
I'm not dreading it. Like, if you want to play as a little girl, you're free to play as a little girl. It's your thing, right? But Steven always says he doesn't want lollies in the game. Steven wants to kind of stay away from a lot of stuff that is immersion breaking. And now you're turning a dwarf into a little girl. I'm sorry, I just don't see the guy going back on those statements.
I mean, it's just kind of as Yokai said, though. It's not like he is intentionally allowing people to create it. It's something that is enabled by providing the amount of freedom he wants to give people to create their character.
Yeah, but
he's not like Intrepid Studios isn't like making lolly dwarves in the game, and they're allowing the characters the freedom to customize their character to an extreme that would allow the character to make what is classified as
but they
dwarf.
also don't want to allow people to break the immersion of the game for other people. Because
a lolly is still a human, and like that, and that's where it's one of the when it comes to dwarves. I don't know if it will be possible, because I imagine there's be certain traits like the nose that will like have to be like they're gonna not let you shrink it down to what I would consider a lolly size. It'll still be somewhat large, but
even in like lesser character customization, like games like that only allow like face customization, I've seen it to where like the sliders and the thing allows you to mess with the nose and cheekbones quite a bit. I imagine you'll be able to play with the nose to get it to be a younger human version instead of that like that gigantic honker that the dwarves have.
I think I don't know about that, and that's why I would say that it maybe isn't as possible. You will probably be able to get a young dwarf, but there might be certain characteristics that will still make her recognizably a dwarf and not a small child human.
I'm looking for an image of the female dwarves that we've seen before. Okay, wait. First thing I have to do, because I think we were talking past Lineage 2. What were they called in Lineage 2?
They're just dwarves in Lineage 2.
Yeah, fuck no. Never gonna happen. Oh, fuck no.
Yeah.
Never gonna fucking happen. I will not play Ashes if I have to run around with a bunch of characters that look like little girls that just got out of grade school. That is probably the most immersive breaking thing they could do.
So people that's one of the concerns people have. Like I said, you're gonna make people happy with allowing character customization to that level of freedom, and then you're gonna piss a lot of people off.
Who are you gonna piss off? Who are you gonna piss off? Steven said from day I mean, Steven said from day one there won't be any lollies in game. Period.
No. I think Steven said that and even in the 100th episode, Steven had said that not within the criteria that you think, and I like when he says that type of stuff, I don't necessarily think he understands like what people classify as a lolly dwarf, or what people classify as a lolly, or what people it could be just be a PR talk too. But I don't think he understands what a furry is, and I don't think he understands 100% like if you allow people this level of freedom, that this stuff is going to happen. Like I said, like you're gonna like people like the freedom of character customization, and then people hate that level of freedom with character customization because it breaks the immersion. And
I think that's a dumb. I don't know. I won't go into that.
well,
But,
BCG's even in that camp too. Like he said that it breaks the immersion for him.
But
So-
I mean, it's how much are you actually going to be able to? Because I mean, I'm looking at these dwarves and they're pretty skinny. If they limit how skinny you can get them, I mean, it'll come down to like how young of a face you can make the character, and it's one of those things I don't care. So like, I don't know what criteria people start caring about this stuff, but
people, it's all kinds of criteria. It's like everywhere with it. If they can complain about it, they're going to complain about it. And with one camp's going to complain about it, one camp's going to be in full support of it.
Well, why do we need lollies in the game?
It's not you're not going to have lollies in the game. It's you allow the character the freedom to customize their character. You allow the player to customize their character to a degree that they can create like basically anything they want. You're gonna have ugly as sin characters. You're gonna have people that look. You're gonna have characters that look exactly like celebrities. People like great looking characters, and like people are like, wow, that looks amazing. And then you're gonna have people that make that like stuff that just like people think is immersion breaking. Like I said, lolly dwarf.
I have to get used to this new overlay. I'm not used to sitting in the center. I mean, I just don't think it's. I mean, I'm looking at the model right now, right, for the female dwarves, right? Mm-hmm. I guess yes, you could make it like.
Oh my gosh, that's like make that a little younger. Maybe if you tone down the lips, and then like if that's the smallest you could get a nose, but still if you tone down the lips maybe and gave it like a more girly hairstyle, I could see people calling that a lolly.
I don't see it on the stream. Is it? I see the
wait. Yeah, I'm putting it on the stream. I'm putting it on the stream.
Yeah, if that's like the smallest you can, even if that's the smallest you can make the portions. I mean, as I said, this is something I just don't care about. But like, okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. You just scale that. You just make the character a little skinnier, and you have a lolly dwarf right there.
But we don't know if you can. That might be the smallest shield you can make her.
I imagine if that's the default, and the way they were showing off the sculpting tool in the stream of like scaling down the muscles and making them slimmer. If you just scale down the muscle tone on that character, you have yourself an animated lolly dwarf.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just what they showed us. Maybe that's the bottom of it. I don't know if that's. I mean, I guess I'm saying if that is the bottom, the smallest you can shrink things down, then. BCG, would you be happy? Do we need to put like a little anime girl haircut on her, and then like so you can visualize it?
Give me 5 seconds.
Give me like a second with Photoshop and put anime girl hair. Like
I can have that done in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, like I don't know. As I said, I think more freedom is better. And
I'm not against freedom. Freedom is good. Having able to create whatever you want to create is okay, but just
I mean it's just a thing with dwarves. Dwarves are short. Children, one thing that people associate with children are short. So if you have a short skinny humanoid, people are automatically going to like visualize that as like a human child. And then especially if it has a young face. So
they're gonna make it into a lolly.
But why? We don't need this. We don't need this.
Different strokes for different folks.
I don't give a honestly at this point. I don't care if you want to play as a big booby.
sounding more like, so you said you're in the camp of freedom. So like it more sounds like you're in the camp of you're against the players that are gonna make this than you are in.
I mean, yes, I'm against grown people trying to play as a little girl. Yes, okay, I don't care if you want to call me whatever. I'm kind of against that. I had that in so many games, and at some point, it just gets really freaking annoying. If you do anything and you're just surrounded by little girly, oh god, no. Sorry, I know I'm old school. I'm sorry, I didn't grow up in the current age. I don't get it, and it just. I was looking. Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. And this is why I'm not getting frustrated. I just really hope to God that this will not be the case, right? Because I'm just at this point, I'm just sick and tired of Eastern MMORPGs that cater that sort of, I don't know, fan service.
I don't know if it'll be fan servicey. I mean, we're still gonna have the same, like costumes and armors. It's not like all of a sudden loli and we have like freaking what's that genre? Like Magic Girl. It's not going to all of a sudden become like a Magic Girl costumes and armor and stuff. Like it's still going to be Ashes of the Creation, like Dunir armor.
Because it isn't something that the developers are making. The developers aren't making loli dwarves. They're not making like super anime, super flashy, super like Eastern MMO style like cosmetics or anything like that. They're not making animals like that. Like like all this is that you're giving players the tool.
I don't know much about anime, but just two things came into my head. If you can really make lollies, right? And you have mounts that have tentacles. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna freaking leave it there. Goldshire times 10. Just Goldshire times 10. Oh god. I mean, yes, maybe you can. Maybe you can. Really, maybe you can. Right? And I will be really, really upset about it, right? Because I rather see a Western style, token style dwarf, right? Even a female dwarf, right? With heavy armor, than a thin looking dwarf.
She's going to still be in heavy armor and will probably be thick to some degree. But
she'll probably have muscle. She'll probably have some kind of muscle tone, but she'll be thinner.
Yoni.
Yeah.
You know I love you, but today, just for bringing this up, I just hate you. I just hate you today.
It was gonna be. It needed to be said. We've had this discussion a lot of times, and I wanted to point out there that like you can say what you want to say, but I feel vindicated today.
Yeah, I'm fucking.
I mean, you don't know. As I said, like if that's like the smallest you can make her nose, if that's like the smallest you can make her lips, and that's the smallest you can make her body, you can't. I don't think you would be able to get full loli. Although that it doesn't help with the haircut. I don't know. Maybe if you freaking change the hair, you could.
Okay, I just want to hold on. I'm looking this up real quick. Lineage.
Have we been already talking for half an hour about this?
Yeah, we have, but it's
So
is it really okay?
So this is what we're talking about. Okay, there I am. Gonna use this. So this is what a dwarf in Lineage 2 looked like.
Google time.
Yeah,
you're right.
Right there. Right. This is what we're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna freaking close. I can't close the ad. Damn it.
Better graphics, but yeah, something along. Yeah.
To really get that look, you might need to make. I think the eyes are in a good place. You need to shrink down the nose, and maybe the mouth.
A little petite. I think the mouth is fine on the female dwarf. It definitely actually does look like a bit more mature. But yeah, shrink down the nose, but like just a little bit, make it more petite, and thin out the character a little bit more, and then you got yourself a loli dwarf.
Yeah.
If this happens, I won't be playing Ashes of Creation.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Oh my gosh! There's some people running around as little girls.
Somebody has to make a stand. Somebody has to make a stand.
It's not the developers.
And against
though.
what?
It's not the developers. It's the players that have the developers are giving the players the tool.
I mean, if we're being real, by not playing, you're letting the lollies win.
I mean, I think it's
You're
a loss.
increasing the number of lollies in the world.
Okay, you read.
Increasing
Okay,
their
okay,
population.
okay. Then I'm gonna put lollies or lolly dwarves right behind Tulnar and elves on my kill list on site. There you go. Happy now? You happy now?
You're gonna kill Tolnar before you're gonna kill lolly dwarves.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
Tulnar and lollies.
I see how it is. I
Okay,
see how
so
it is.
okay. So it's elves, dwarf, lollies, and then Tulnar.
Okay.
And anything that wears anything pink.
But yeah,
Here's the thing. From what I've seen, and this is why I think my confusion comes from. From what I seen when I watched the video in the live stream, they're going for a really realistic type of character creator, right? Until I see somebody make something really, really wonky or something that is completely out of place, I'm just gonna stick with them. Yes, giving you freedom. They want to give you freedom, but in a realistic sort of way to not break immersion. That's just the point that I'm gonna take till we see.
okay. Are we gonna move forward then?
Oh, I don't know. Got anything else to
Want
talk
to do
about?
final thoughts on character creator? Is there anything more we want to talk about related to the character creator besides the fact that there may be lolly dwarves?
I mean, I figured Yoni is gonna talk for an hour about this.
I could talk about this for a long time, but like we like there's no point in doing it. Like my whole entire point was like we talked about it several times. We talked about it recently, like what it means, what the definition of like people's definition and our definition of what it, the having a BD, like you're looking at the sculpting tool right now on the stream is what I can see, but like having a character creator on the same level as the BDO character creator and what that means. We talked about this character creator a lot leading up to this point. And so I just wanted to bring up the fact that like with this level of freedom and like what people have been talking about as well of immersion, the freedom that the tool gives you, and then like the freedom the tool gives you, and then people that are against immersion breaking characters.
I mean, just because you have a lot of freedom with the tool, and this is also like where my point comes from. Just because you have a lot of freedom with a tool doesn't mean you necessarily can make something immersion breaking.
There's a line there, like depending on the level of freedom you give people, there's a line there that crosses the line for somebody all the time. Like if you,
like I seen character creators, like in Black Desert Online that are immersion breaking, but also then I see character creators that allow you a lot of freedom, but they keep it like you cannot make pink hair or pink skin. Well, they keep it kind of realistic. Which was the last game that had that I played? Was some? I think no. Was it? No, it wasn't Elion. One of the last MMORPGs I played had that. But yeah, I give you $50 if you can make lollies.
I will definitely be making lollies and cat girls. And Colonel Sanders, and like if anybody says that there's a character that I couldn't make that I've argued for over the past like 4 or 5 years that the game's been in development, 4, 5, 6 years, I will be making that character. I have already said this a lot.
Oh, I know you have.
After that 100th episode, when we had the interview with Steven, everyone really did not like the lolly dwarf question that I asked on the stream.
I mean, if he comes for the fifth anniversary, I mean, I gotta drill him about it, just to get it out of the way once and for all.
How about we just wait till the content creator, or not the character creator thing comes out, and we see the freedom, and then we talk about what elements of freedom allow the creation of something that people don't like. And then like we have full understanding of why it either needs to or doesn't need to be that way.
All right.
I feel like we're going to like there's a lot of kind of like
It's
We don't know.
it's a thing me and Yoni have. let us do our thing. I mean, what else are we gonna talk about?
We can move on. All right, so
What else you got?
All right, so besides the character creator, you got the April cosmetics, you got in-game collectibles, the wait, tutorials, the tutorial, staggering progression, friendly fire, and artisan classes.
I mean, how about we let Stackerson pick for once?
I wasn't ready to pick. I was probably going to just. I was kind of preparing myself mentally for cosmetics. So, which I don't think you want to do. So, how about you?
I mean, Yoni is the one that picks the topic. So whatever Yoni wants to talk about. I mean, we already talked about Lollies. Cannot get any worse.
You don't want to talk about April cosmetics.
I mean, we can talk about.
That's a we don't have anything to talk about stream topic. So we can save that for when no one can decide on anything.
If you want to talk about cosmetics
or artisan classes, what?
We can talk about cosmetics.
I don't care if we talk about cosmetics. Up to you. I listed off two topics that I don't care. What
okay, artisan classes. We're doing artisan classes. Let's do it.
A thing that people have been talking about, like I've had this discussion a lot recently in the Discord, in the Ashes Creation Discord, and the Envious Discord, with people around the thing. People, I think they were talking about it in the stream, on the forum, stuff like that. But people are, I don't remember what was said. I had to rewatch the stream. It's been like a week or two, but something was said about animal husbandry, and people have been freaking the fuck out. People have been trying to like think about like what's up with animal husbandry, and like how it's going to be so much more in depth than other artisan classes. And we've been talking about other artisan classes, and like all these small minute things that they could add to the different ones, and animal husbandry included.
I mean, you're getting into a weird place with I mean, the customization with animal husbandry has to do with the like the appearance of the mounts, right? That's what people are kind of freaking out about.
It's not. Yes and no. Well, like I thought like one of the topics I have heard is like the how in depth the with the look at the character customization, and like I think Steven said like he wants something like similar for the animal husbandry thing as well. But I imagine it's probably the mixing tool thing that they were showing off. Never mind. We can yeah, so the animal husbandry thing of like the mixing of the races, and like how in depth that is, and how complicated people think it's gonna be, and like how much more in depth it is versus the other artisan classes.
I mean, is the depth just the customization side of it?
Well, there's been talks about like all the systems they could possibly do with it as well.
Well, I mean, it's a little different.
It's a bunch of theory crafty, like along with like the character customization thing actually sparked like this conversation of it, but it evolved into like everything. Like it evolved in a bunch of theory crafty topics about the artisan.
Can we start like one of those theory crafty topics?
Like say you have arc survival, or not like say restricted breeding. Like say you had egg groups, like you have not breeding groups, like you have in Pokemon, or a restriction on where animals can breed. Like they can only breed in grassland areas or under certain weather conditions, or the animals need certain weather conditions. Heat. Like if it's an egg, it needs certain temperatures to be able to hatch. Like if it's a frost dragon egg, it needs extreme cold. If it's a fire dragon egg, it needs to be in extreme heat. Or it needs to or if you want to breed camels, you need to be in a deserty area, more arid area. Certain animals enjoy certain climates. And then like breeding different animals together to make certain things, like they've already said you could breeding fucking a tiger with a gigantic bat monster, and a lion with a gigantic bat monster, and possibly getting a fucking manticore. Breeding a bunch of horses together till you get a fucking unicorn. All those different kinds of theory crafty shit.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that's just my taste. When it comes to these sort of systems, because I know there's a lot of people that could literally play Ashes and all they do is breeding. If you make those systems a little bit more complex than your usual MMORPG stuff, I would assume it goes a really, really long way for a lot of people.
A lot of the systems I've listed off aren't that extreme either. Like a lot of games that have like different temperature or biomes that have in-depth actual crafting or artisan classes or crafting trees have it to where certain plants can only grow in certain biomes or under certain weather conditions. Like there are several games that have them. And like the same thing with animals, like they can only breed with animals in the same kind of species group. Like a bear can only breed with another bear or another mammal. Dogs can only breed, like wolves and dogs can only breed with like foxes and other things of their species. Like a lizard and a dog. Some games have it where you can't breed a lizard and a dog together. Things like that. And then, like I said, like a lot of games have it where like plants and animals can't grow or be farmed in certain biomes. Those systems are already there in a bunch of games. And like they sound super in depth, but they're really like
which games? Like what other MMORPG has that?
You have Arcade has it where you like plants and trees can only grow in certain areas. I think there's I didn't really touch the animal.
I think there's a bonus to them. They like grow faster if they are raised in certain biomes, but I don't think you have to.
I don't think you can grow specific ones in specific areas though.
Not sure. I would have sworn it was just like a mature speed buff.
But it has it to where like you can read like you're in an arid climate and stuff like that. A lot of survival games have it to where this is a system of like, oh, you're in this biome, it's raining right now, the moisture level of the crops, like the crops are getting moisturized and stuff like that. If it rains too much, your crops get watered out. Like you're in the desert biome, your shit can't grow. There are other MMOs that have like not a whole lot of MMOs go that super in depth on their actual crafting trees, but there are some out there, and most of the ones that like there's a lot of Asian ones I've played too. I think
I mean, I can see the mount breeding system to be really in depth, like where do you raise or where do you breed, what sort of food do you use, and that sort of stuff. I can also see a lot of other things be more complex than your normal MMORPG stuff. The question now is, do they have the time, do they have the manpower to...
That's the question people pose, is like when people start listing off all these things, they think it's either super hard or it over. And then also one of the things I could also see is like the argument I do see is like if you add all these different systems to things like plant grow, like farming, like a farming artisan class where you actually grow crops, or a animal husband, or the animal husbandry one where like how the animals are all like super in depth, you overshadow, like people feel like it overshadows the other artisan classes.
Let's talk about that, because I don't know. I don't think that's a good reason to hold back a system. Is it overshadows other systems. I also don't think you should add complexity just for the sake of adding complexity. There will be some crafting systems that are hard and some or more in depth. Some crafting systems that are easy. Not everyone's probably going to want to go through all the hoops that it takes to be an animal, do animal husbandry.
Can you give an example?
What do you mean?
Like for example, like what crafting system would be more complex than others?
What they're describing right here is where you have to consider where you're breeding it, who you're breeding it with, what you're feeding it, all that stuff.
I mean, I can see that sort of logic be applied to any sort of crafting system. Like, for example, I don't know, armor smithing. What sort of hammer do you use? Temperature? What sort of wood do you use for the fire? How often are you? I don't know.
I mean, you can add all these things for like input resources, but I think that gets a little different than when you're talking about like what it comes from. Because imagine breeding, it's not just you're breeding a bear with a pig, and you get your man bear pig. It's you have a man bear pig, and you start breeding that with something else, and then you start to get more and more layers.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I don't think it's gonna be like. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, no, I would imagine it would get like that though. I'd imagine you'd breed something, and you'd use that something that you bred to breed something else, which is a little different than crafting, where usually you'd have your required materials. You may need to construct materials to build other materials, but
Sorry, Stackers, go ahead.
No, I was going.
So, like, it also depends on, like, so, like, you just throwing on a whole bunch of mechanics. Why am I like this?
I don't know. I'm looking at it the other day. There you go.
There we go.
I was
all
looking
right,
at
so, there's like, throwing in systems also really depends on, like, is it fun or not? Are these systems added just to add systems in to like pack in systems because like you feel like these other ones are super in depth, and what systems are added because they add a degree of fun and interaction to the game, and what are just there to like for clutter. Like some people find like that the breeding biomes and stuff like that entertaining, and there are reasons for that. There are reasons for like why those systems would be there for economy reasons as well. And there's also or like limiting like what kind of animals you can produce, and then like throwing it, and then some people also find watching the temperature on your blacksmithing, like adding more coal or different kinds of fuels to the fire to make it hotter or colder. And getting the right temperature for the right materials, also there. But there's people that don't like depends on like what you're adding to the game to make those artisans classes more in depth and fun versus busy work. And there's a really hard balancing there thing too, because crafting isn't for everybody, and so some people think if you add a lot to it, it's gonna be busy work, and then busy work can be fun to somebody else.
You see, I'm on the other side of that spectrum because I know a lot of people that, at least from like my Black Desert Online days, that only did crafting, gathering, and all that stuff. So there's a player base for that, and at least in my personal taste, I would actually really like to see crafting skills be rather complex and needing a certain level of skill and knowledge compared to, okay, there's a recipe, I'm going to click on this and now I'll make this.
Yeah, people are tired of this. Some people are tired of the same old like boring crafting thing. I think it makes it like crafting, number one, in most games isn't super like meaningful. You can get most of your best gear from raids and loot drops. You're not crafting a lot of the best in-game gear.
Exactly.
You're supposed to in Ashes of Creation.
I mean, I would love to see shipbuilding and armor smithing and even alchemy be super complex.
Yeah. The level of complexity, like so.
I think the complexity though has to kind of make sense a little bit too.
I mean,
I think this originally started like was adding complexity for complexity's sake. Versus like if something is just naturally can be complex because it makes sense for the system.
Like for example,
makes sense and is fun.
Something that I would see is if you are learning a new recipe. Now you have to put in a certain amount of stuff here and there, and then over time it becomes easier and easier and easier for you, right? But alchemy for me in most games has always been, okay, there's a recipe, I learned the recipe, now I press a button, now I made that one potion 15 times. Or I can see shipbuilding in the same way that you have to use certain materials and you have to put them together in a certain order and stuff like that. And if you don't put them in the right order, you maybe end up building a ship that instantly like breaks.
But like, maybe that's fun for some. Maybe that's fun, not fun. I mean, I could imagine that being. I could see that not being fun for some.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that.
It's fun
There
for
are
others.
a lot of like there are ship games out there that have like super in-depth shipbuilding thing, but like the ships have like for those games, like the ships are like the main thing, and this is like the sailing too. People have like comments on the sailing, like oh, it should have this, this, and this. A lot of the games that have that kind of stuff that people are suggesting, that's the game's entire fucking thing, and so having
I don't know if that's a good reason to leave it out, but also, yeah.
but like
because like sailing could be its own game. Like
sailing, I'm
like
not
that's
saying
almost how
leave it
you
out.
should think of the different parts of an MMO.
Yes,
like,
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you, Sackerson. What I'm saying that is that the sailing, like because it's that game's whole thing, that like that's the only thing the developers really need to focus on. Whereas like if you're trying to do a whole lot of crazy shit with in an MMO or like any game, you kind of like there's a chance you neglect other areas.
Why not have a game inside the game?
I mean, mini game, like we've had this conversation too about like mini games for crafting as well. Some people like it. Some people like mini games for like the gathering and stuff like that. Like, oh, I have to do this stuff. But also, a lot of people like to turn their brain off when they're out gathering.
Yeah, I mean, gathering should be something you do AFK when you're like doing something else, right? But I think it should, when it comes to like complexity, it actually should go gathering super easy, processing is a little bit complex depending on what you make, and then crafting should be the complexest thing in the game, because I believe, and Steven said, there should be people on the server that are known for crafting certain things, but I think like it should also require a good amount of skill to get to that sort of level. Just pressing buttons and then everything works automatically is just... I can have a bot do that. I had that in other games where I had bots run crafting rotations because I didn't want to spend hours crafting. I did that in Black Desert Online, I did that in World of Warcraft, I did that in Wildstar. It's not really that hard to set up, and I think that just takes away so much potential. So much potential. Like, if somebody wants to be the best crafter, give him a system, give him gameplay design that actually requires him to have the knowledge, have the skill, and make the time he spends getting to a certain level meaningful. That, for me, would sell ashes instantly to so many doubters.
There's a degree to that too, because they separate artisan classes. So you can only be a gatherer, you can only be a processor, you can only be a crafter. Like, some people would feel like it depends on like the trees and like what tree you're going down. If you're going down a miner or a woodcutter, I don't imagine people that are picking those are super like, I want super in-depth things. They're picking those things because like it's they want it to be like that turn my brain off for right now kind of thing. But then there's also like that lower level stuff versus that high level, like that more rare high level stuff. The more rare high level stuff, I imagine you probably add complexity in a mini game to it. Whereas like the different levels of things, like you can add, like you can keep that stuff, the turn my brain off right now kind of shit.
Yeah, kind of like just what crafting's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Some people like it. Some people want it to like. Some people. Well, you need that turn my brain off level shit in an MMO too. Like.
That's what gathering is for. If I
could be what processing's for.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, if you let's say you're a processor, right? And somebody comes to you with, I don't know, super special raid dragon poop ore, right? And he's like, hey, yeah, process this for me, right? Because it's like the rarest material in the game, and if you're a processor, but you never processed this before, the first 50 times, depending on how the game design, the game system for that thing works, you should fail. Not necessarily fail. You should have some skill, something, some mini game or something, till you reach a level of skill where you can make it automated.
I don't know if I agree. I think the challenge for resources is in getting the resources, so killing the dragon for his poop. If the challenge is, okay, we killed the dragon for his poop, but now we also need someone who's actually good enough to turn the poop into something that a crafter could turn into an item.
Yeah.
I think you're adding like too many layers there.
Yeah. Why? Why is it too many?
It's arbitrary.
I don't think so.
It's like no. I mean, I have no reason to say it's too many. I'm just saying, especially if it's the dragon poop that's from the world boss that only one group can kill every week or month, then it's like, oh.
Are you guys making a Sword Art Online reference right now with the dragon poop?
I assume that's what he was starting with, but yeah, I was kind of going with it.
Okay.
Why is that Sword Art Online? Sorry, like I said, anime.
I don't know. The first time I thought about when you said dragon poop, I thought you were referring to because that's like what happens.
How long you guys been on
dragon poop so a crafter can turn it into a sword?
How long you guys been doing this with me? Like, what?
It's an actual episode.
You're kidding me.
A dragon poop being turned into a sword.
Yeah, he has to go on a gigantic quest to get dragon poop, and then they turn it into like one of his best swords.
Anyways, the point that I want to make is if you have a rare ore, right, or a rare resource, and you bring it to a processor, and that guy just, I don't know, he hit max level in processing, right, and now he can instantly transform the best resource into something special. I don't know, like for me, it would be kind of, I don't know, not immersion breaking, but it would feed the immersion of there being some sort of, yes, you are a good processor, but you need more skill. You kind of like, you don't bring, if you wanna build a house, you don't just bring the materials to a kid that built a sandcastle in the backyard. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, the processor should have leveled their processing through whatever quality items came prior to the dragon poop. But I don't think making them fail or making you lose an item that was so hard to get is... I could see people getting frustrated.
I mean, let them be frustrated.
Okay.
I just don't want to run into another situation where the crafting system is so single-minded, where I can literally write software that just automatically crafts for me as long as I have enough resources in my bag.
Well, it's not going to be. You're going to have to... you're probably going to have the dragon poop processed in one node, and then you're going to have to use a caravan to transfer it to another node so it can actually be crafted into whatever you want it to be crafted into.
But then if I have the resource in my bag, right, then I just press a button and everything works automatically. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I know people hate the idea of mini games and that stuff, but I would actually like to see that in the crafting system, where you have to worry about what would you use, how often you hit something with a hammer, and that sort of stuff. That for me would be something, hey, yeah, like there's people, yes, I have, I'm a crafter, but there are people that are way better at this. So now I have
There's a scene in
Please to make an
Sword
anime
Online a
reference.
bridge. It's a bridge.
Where
it's
she
a
makes
bridge.
the poop sword.
Yeah, where she's making the sword and she's doing the mini game and like I like that though. Like I reference that all the time. I link it inside the AOC Discord every time like artisan classes like mini games come up. Is like that's having something like that I think is a good thing for the artisan classes, actual crafting, like having to pay attention to that stuff, and like having like maybe not failing and it breaking, but like succeeding and it coming out like a better quality, like
But then that
rare,
better
like
quality kind of
different
becomes
rarity.
the meta. No, I guess I imagine if we really go down this route of mini games, then some of us are going to be making flash games so people can practice their crafting.
People do it for fucking shooter games too, like the aim games to help you like hone your eye coordination.
They used
And I feel like you're adding an active element to something that is supposed to be a little bit more passive. I feel like the active element is the process
true.
in getting the item.
Yeah, but just pressing
like the challenge was beating the boss.
But not everyone goes through that though. That's because you break up the different but the big boss items, yes. But like not everyone. Like say you're taking that to a crafter. The crafter didn't go through that.
Yeah, but the crafter could have gone through that if they wanted to.
They could have
kill the boss. They've probably like that. That's the idea. Is like choosing. If a crafter chose to be a crafter, they are choosing a more passive play style.
That's not true. I disagree with that. Like they're picking crafting doesn't mean they're picking a passive playstyle. They're just picking the artisan class that's available to them. Like they don't. Not all crafters have to be like this very extremely passive. Because you don't
have to be. I mean, I'll probably pick a crafting, and I'm a very active player. I'll also be in the raids, but I don't think you need to make like every step in the economy. I guess I want to say.
I just
be active.
Okay, no, I just ran.
I think. Sorry, go on.
What?
I just ran a poll during the stream, and people voted, and it's like 100% should crafting be complex.
Yeah. Complexity doesn't necessarily mean active, though.
Yeah, but complexity doesn't also mean just having the resources and pressing a button.
A lot of people don't. There's a lot of people in the Discord. Like, there's a lot of people like period that don't like that either. Like, I see where stackers are going. I see both sides of the argument. I don't mind. I don't mind crafting, gathering, processing being that like turn your brain off moment of playing the MMO. Sometimes you need that. Like just turn off your brain, do this thing that gives you progression, and like turn on some anime over on the other monitor and watch that.
Oh, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily turn off your brain. It's just like you're using your brain differently. It's the complexity is supposed to come with like the spreadsheet side of things. You're supposed to know like exactly which material, like knowing which materials you need to use. Which materials give you what benefits possibly, like the kind of, if I remember right, this Star Wars Galaxies method where you'd have different materials with different qualities and you'd want to use them in different ways for different benefits.
Yeah.
But it isn't necessarily being able to how fast you can react or click on something or knowing what playing a rhythm game. It is just understanding and knowing the system and how best to do stuff.
Like I said, I played too many games where crafting, you hit max level and then it's like just like a bonus that you can make stuff. Like in World of Warcraft, you're like master, like full leveled alchemist, and now you can make the best potions and so on.
But yeah, and I mean,
and in most
distinction you need to make is like to do that you don't have to do anything with high level content. You just have to go to the max. The worst thing you have to do is go to the max level zone and get the highest level material that drops in the world, which isn't really contested. In Ashes, the dragon poop is going to be the highest tier item maybe, but before that there's going to be other content that is group oriented content that you're going to have processed and crafted gear from to be able to craft,
Yeah, but
process, and
that's,
craft the gear from the poop.
you see, like I see that separately. I see that completely separately. Like gathering the resources or whatever, for me is something completely separated from just the crafting. Because the crafting,
Yeah, I'm also looking at something separately as well.
because at one point or another, you're gonna be a master crafter, right? But then, like, where is the remaining fun in that? I don't want crafting. I want crafting to be a choice. People, if somebody says I want to be a master crafter, that is something that takes time. That is something that is not just a bonus added on top of whatever else you do in the game. That's something that you have to dedicate a time into even after you mastered it. Like, for example, like gathering, people can do on the side, and that they can do that while adventuring and doing whatever. But if somebody wants to be a master crafter, there should be a game system and design tree where they can literally just be a crafter. Like I remember people in Black Desert Online, they're like, okay, all I'm gonna do is craft and run trade packs. And that's all they did. That's all they did. They never leveled. They never went grinding. They never had to do the whole RNG. All they did was trade and make money. And I kind of want that in Ashes. If there's something people want to do, like just if people just want to be like, I just want to breed, give them the option to just breed, but also make that whole system, that whole game design choice, and behind it something that is fun, takes time, and has some sort of complexity to it besides just pressing one button.
Well, I guess I'm a little confused because you mentioned BDO, saying that you knew people who like to spend time in BDO, but that system was just,
That's the
for the
most
most part,
AFK
press
system out there.
Yeah, I know,
button.
I know, but they could, I know, but there was also like you never stopped like leveling up. That's what I meant. You never hit max level, as far as I remember. So they
Well, with crafting, we know you have to. Hitting max level in crafting isn't the end of crafting. Similar to any other progression system, you get more stuff for crafting by advancing in. I don't know if religion, but we've heard examples of you getting extra stuff for advancing in social organizations. Like if you advance in the Thieves Guild, maybe you get a dial that allows you to turn up the crit, or further turn up the crit on an item, or add an extra passive or active ability to that to those items you're crafting.
I mean, I guess we just have to
I
wait
guess
and
that's
see.
one thing that should be said. Yeah, getting to max level does not mean you are able. From my understanding, does not mean you're just able to craft anything that someone brings to you. For example, like to craft high level gear, we've heard
Again, I'm separating like the whole process of getting the resources or whatever to the crafter. That's something I don't conclude within when I'm talking about crafting. I want crafting to be something that takes skill and is not just pressing a button to craft something. Because that is just, for me, that is just a waste of opportunity. I've seen that in so many games. And like I said earlier, I used to run software for games where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna craft this item 500 times. I don't feel like sitting around here and pressing the button 500 times. Even World of Warcraft at some point, I don't know if it's introduced now, but you had crafting add-ons where you just said, okay, I want to craft this. I got all the materials in my bag. I just press one button and it's crafting one thing for 500 times. If I'm an alchemist, I think it should be. I think it would be fun if an alchemist actually had to mix potions.
So one thing that BDO does that I like is it actually forces you to click the item. I mean, actually, is there a way for you to just click the recipe and it throws in all the items you need? Because I remember the way I always crafted was I click the items and then you click craft and it throws the items in the pot and then out shoots whatever those items combined.
And all right, has anyone played Kingdom Come?
One or two?
Deliverance?
No.
I have not yet.
All right, so Kingdom Come Deliverance has, and these might be too in-depth systems. Well, like they have like a blacksmithing game, like a blacksmithing game, lockpicking games. They have an alchemy game to where you actually have to pay to. Like there might be, some people might think they're like too in-depth or like too complicated, but I think those are probably good examples of what we're trying to talk about with like a fun, in-depth games for those kinds of things. And then like Kingdom Come Deliverance with the alchemy, it's not like the alchemy is like medicine. It's not like magic, but you could do that with like the magic potions. That same game. There are games that have like an alchemy mini game. Have alchemy mini games. And stuff like that. I don't know. I think this is where we're over an hour, and this is going kind of in circles.
Yeah, we're going in circles. Let's just call it for the day.
Okay. Do we want to do final thoughts really quick?
On what?
Yeah. On the artisan classes.
All right.
Stackerson, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I agree. Crafting should be complex and something that's fun to learn, but I don't know if that necessarily means it needs to have an active component to it.
I think it should have a super acting component to it. It should be on the same level as when you go fight a mob. Then I think that would be something new, something people haven't seen. Yes, it might not. A lot of people might not like it, but also other people might like it a lot and actually think about playing Ashes just for being a crafter or whatever.
I can see both sides. I'm more on the it's like the actual like active part where you do the mini game and stuff like that. But I wouldn't mind. I don't mind the turn your brain off crafting either, so long as it's meaningful.
All right. Okay, everybody. We will be back in 2 weeks with a special episode. We were working on something, or we're trying to figure something out. So as always, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will be back in 2 weeks.
Bye.